Hey guys, welcome to JPlays. I'm Iceman, and this is my playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. And I was hoping to add on a new mod that came out today to the game, but then I found out you have to start a new playthrough, so yeah, fuck that. There was a mod that came out called, I think it's Brave New World. Yeah, Brave New World. And what that does is replaces all the voice acting in the game, because one of the main annoying things in this game is the fact that they only had a very small amount of voice actors, and that expands it greatly to actually hearing individual new voices. The other problem, the problem being that it changes the models as well, so I don't know why that means you need to start a new game, but it does. So gah, I would have liked to have. Anyway, nothing we can do about it. There's still going to be the Frontier mod coming out in a while. I don't know when that's coming out, but I've been taking my time so much with this playthrough, you never know. It might click in at some point later. Anyway.
Nelson's back in our hands. I hope we can defend it this time. I'm glad to see you here. We could definitely use your help. You handled yourself well against the Legion, and that took some of the pressure off of us. I'll send a couple troops out there right now. Watch yourself out there.
Yeah. Camp Golf it is. Actually, let's go to Las Vegas. Like while we're out there, get some exploring done. I was expecting them to react to the fact that I'm in Brotherhood as steel armor, but nope. Everyone seems all good with it. Shit. Oh no, this is gonna hurt. Oh. Okay, didn't hurt. Okay. So this is another one of those quests that's designed to get you to go to more places.
Evening. Ah, hell. What is it now? I've been here since the first push into Vegas. Back in the day, this camp was the hotspot for conflicts with the Legion, Raider tribes, you name it. These days, I spend most of my time trying to beat a little discipline into the soldiers under my command. I've gotten soft with no action.
As you can tell, you've probably heard this voice actor a million times by this point. It's so nice to have different voice actors.
Mostly drill the troops, try to keep the discipline up and combat readiness high. It's not the easiest job in the world. Soldiers without a mission get bored very easily. Still, with the Legion just across the river, we have to be ready. Disappointed. We call them the Misfits for a reason. They're undisciplined, lazy, and they have absolutely no esprit de corps. The squad leader's got some promise, kid named Mags. But as for the rest, I don't see much hope. I'm going to make them shape up if it kills me, though. Or them, for that matter. You're welcome to try. Hell, maybe they'll listen to somebody they don't see as an authority figure. Who the hell are you coming in here asking me if I can spare it? I don't hand out NCR troopers to anybody who wanders out of the wasteland. Man, it's my life. I joined up when I was 16. I don't know how to do anything else. Yeah, well, I didn't want to get promoted out of the field. I didn't join up to drive a desk. Yeah, whatever.
Now, I'm assuming you aren't associated with the Army or the Rangers. What can I do for you? That seems highly illogical. What reason would he have for doing that?
Another voice actor we've heard many times by this point.
This is an unexpected variable. I had hoped to coast on an easy wave of mediocrity to a cushy government pension. Your insults are both unhelpful and unwanted. I'll thank you to keep them to yourself. And what do you propose? As you wish. I'm sure the optimal solution will become apparent to you in time. In a strictly official capacity, no. However, as I am by far the most intelligent and resourceful figure on this base, I feel it's safe to say the soldiers here look up to me. I suppose if you must stick with your narrow, parochial view of in charge, then yes, it's a no. Are we done? To what purpose? It's highly unlikely you'd understand anything I'd say. Suffice to say, I'm a certified genius, and when I'm discharged from this pit of testosterone and failure, I'll have all the money I could ever need. It's a simple idea. The Army offers fiscal security and generous benefits at the cost of substantial personal risk, if you're on the front line. If you perform too poorly, they'll scrub you out. Perform too well, and you get sent to the front lines. All I have to do is ride that mediocrity gradient to a cushy, do-nothing job miles away from the war. I somehow suspect you'll be back to converse with me later.
Most likely.
Howdy, great to see you. To me? I'll tell you what I think this squad needs. A little more basic human niceness. That's right. Folks just don't talk to other folks. And everybody's always cross with each other. That'd be swell. Only if they knew the idea came from me, they probably wouldn't take you serious no more. So maybe you ought to think about it first. And I sure hope you're more convincing than I am, or they ain't gonna listen. Okay. They're mostly pretty nice. Poindexter showed me how to make fireworks. Raz kind of scares me sometimes, but I don't mind. He's had a hard life. Well, I was born on a farm out in California. Weren't much. Me, Ma, and Pa, my 2 sisters, and about 40 acres of corn and Brahmin. Didn't ever have no problems, really, except for some lean years. Then I joined up and got shipped out here to New Vegas. Oh, it's a fine place. The lake is real pretty, and we don't get bothered much by them Legion fellers. Well, as it turns out, we had a string of bad harvests a few years back. Pa said he couldn't afford to feed but 3 youngins or we'd starve. As the biggest one, it was my job to go join the army so's my sisters could eat, and so's we wouldn't all be killed by raiders, and Jesus would love us. It's all right, I guess. I don't like all the fighting we gotta do, though. I ain't scared. I just don't like hurting folks is all. Ma always used to tell me, boy, you're the biggest and the strongest, so you mind yourself. Every day she told me that. Guess I done took it to heart. Toodaloo.
Right.
You've done an excellent job ingratiating yourself to the top brass. I assume this is some sort of stratagem?
Hell of a battle at Nelson. I'm impressed our troops survived. Not much to tell, really. I grew up in New Reno, joined up, took my shot at being a ranger, didn't make it, so I'm stuck with this crew of jokers. Gee, I don't know. Maybe because I'm saddled with the worst damn unit in the NCR Army. Think that might have something to do with it? Yeah, I mean, no. They're okay people, but they don't care, you know? They don't have any ambition, no drive. They're slacking off, and that reflects badly on me. You really think so? Hell, I guess it's worth a shot. Easy. This is where they send all the fuck-ups and people they don't want. But hey, it's not like I'm bitter or anything. I guess I wanted to make something of myself, you know? Be the best of the best. I wanted to be a ranger, but guess this is as close as I get. Yeah, what about it? I told you we need marksmanship and explosive handling improvements. Are you sure? I've got enough clout to get them started, but these guys are pretty lazy. I doubt they'll want to be pulled in different directions. You're the boss.
Glad you're with us.
Glad you're with us. Okay, everybody's lined up and ready to go. Any suggestions? You heard the man, people. Get focused. I've got the one at 11 o'clock. Raz, O'Hanrahan, take the 2 on the right. Poindexter, the center. Right. Exhale, squeeze. Focus on the shot. Thanks for the help. I think the whole unit's doing a lot better now.
Yep.
Was that a first recon guy looking after me?
Hey.
What you want, Holmes? Ain't much to tell. Grew up out west, in the boneyard. Heard of it? Yeah, not many people have. Wasn't really a good place for kids, you know? I joined up to get out. My family's still back there. What do you want to know? Whole place used to be some kind of rich bastard resort back before the war. Now the Rangers use the old resort and we grunts get to live in tents. Fucking typical. Shit, man, it was this or the Fiends. And Fiends don't last too long in the NCR. At least this way the badasses with the top shelf guns are on my side. We don't talk too much, mostly. Poindexter's a smart-ass prick. While Hanrahan's a big pussy, ain't good for shit in a fight. And Mags? Well, Mags is cut out for something other than soldiering, you dig? Shit, maybe you're right. Guess I ought to give him a shot. Right. Wish I had a first recon guy looking after me. Howdy, great to see you.
Glad to see you haven't gotten yourself killed yet. It helped, but we still got a grenade range inspection to pass. After the help you gave us at the shooting range, we'll take any advice you've got. I'll line them up. Okay, we've got our dummy grenades and the course is live. We're all set. Right, easy enough. 1, 2, 3. Solid arc. Check. Lob them up and over, people. Hold the grenades for groups, squad. Hit them in clusters and send them running. Yeah, I do. Thanks. I think we might survive this now.
We won't go quietly.
Hello?
The Legion can count on that. You've done an excellent job ingratiating yourself to the top brass. You're trying to appeal to my ego. I must admit it's an effective tactic. All right, I'll help. But only because I want to see if it's even possible. I somehow
Nelson's back.
Glad to see you haven't gotten yourself killed yet. Thanks to you, I think we're in good shape. The squad seems to be functioning much better as a unit now.
In our hands. Hope we can defend it this time.
There we go.
Nelson's back in our hands. Hope we can defend it this time.
I love how they just take responsibility for taking Nelson when it was me that just went in there and shot like one guy, and then all of a sudden they have it. Not really much of a battle.
I gotta admit, I'm impressed. The Misfits are drilling better than I ever expected. After what you did getting my Misfits whipped into shape, yeah, I could spare a couple boys for Bitter Springs. I'll issue the dispatch orders. Yeah, whatever.
Hello?
Evening.
You should talk to Chief Hanlon if you have any questions. He's usually up on the balcony.
You never know when the game's gonna crash on you. If I remember right, that's Mr. House who will be going to pay us a visit to much later on.
Hey.
Hmm. Thought I had that one for sure. Lovely.
Hello.
Hey.
Back west, you don't see too many of these. Lakes, I mean. Natural or man-made. Any kind, really. We neglected the dams or pumped all the water out a long time ago. Owens, Isabella, the San Luis. Drained the aquifers of everything they had. Just a lot of mud and dust now. It's a different feeling watching the sun come up over the water. Takes some getting used to. But if you're here long enough, it starts to seem normal. That's what a ranger's life is now, looking east. You must be the courier folks have been talking about. Word on the radio is that someone wronged you back in Good Springs. The Mojave has a way of burning decent people up. But it sounds like you've done right by the NCR. It's appreciated. Now what can I do for you?
I love the first option.
Folks around here call me the chief, but handling's just fine. The Rangers run themselves pretty well, but I try to lend a hand. Mostly administrative work, helping coordinate intel on the radio. That and keeping an eye on the fires growing across the water. It's a simple system when it works. Patrol Rangers radio intel to ranger stations. Comm Rangers send the intel up the station chain until it reaches Camp Golf. Then I or one of the other Rangers on duty organize the data, evaluate it, and send information to camps or troopers in the field. Com Rangers might have an incomplete picture of the situation. There's a lot going on out there. Intel needs to be coordinated through Gulf so we can verify and advise appropriately. Troopers have enough to deal with. We don't want them questioning their intel. Shoot. The best of the best, worst of the worst. He came out of NCR, one of the followers of the apocalypse. Like a lot of the followers, he went out in the wilderness with a partner to try to help those who needed helping. Not much different from how the Rangers used to be, except with books and medicine instead of guns. Out to the Grand Canyon, he met a missionary from Utah, a man by the name of Joshua Graham. Graham helped translate for the followers and the tribes. All three of them got nabbed by the Blackfoots down there, back when they were still at war with every other tribe in the Southwest.
Joshua Graham, who's in the one of the DLCs.
Somewhere along the way, he realized he needed to educate the Blackfoots or they were going to get wiped out with the rest of the tribe. Showed them how to use guns, how to make explosives. Once he taught the Blackfoots a thing or two, they needed him. And he no longer needed the followers, NCR, or anyone else. He decided he could remake the tribes of the Southwest whether they wanted it or not. He became Caesar, and Joshua Graham became his legate, his right hand. And that's where Graham stayed until Hoover Dam. Losing the dam was the worst defeat the Legion ever suffered. Graham had been with Caesar since the beginning, but he had to set an example. The Praetorians covered Graham in pitch, lit him on fire, and down into the Grand Canyon he went. It's not that clear-cut. You have to understand, Graham was the toughest son of a gun anyone around these parts had ever seen. Before Hoover, we had 5 kill reports on Graham from Rangers and 1st Recon sharpshooters who tried to take him out. Some folks think he's still alive. Call him the Burned Man. Yes and no. The Blackfoots don't exist anymore. Just like any other tribe that gets swallowed by the Legion. Caesar takes the tribal out of the tribe. Scrapes and burns off tattoos, breaks up families, forces mixed breeding so all the old loyalties die away. The only tribe in the Legion is the Legion. Caesar is the chief, father, and God, all rolled into one. It's no secret we've had better campaigns. Holding this whole length of river isn't easy. We're stretched thin and the long 15 just keeps getting longer. Slow to get supplies, slower to get reinforcements. NCR's Senate has got funds tied up at the Boneyard. President Kimball ordered our most experienced rangers to chase ghosts down in Baja. Senate elections are coming up. Local representatives don't want to push any more funding to the Mojave campaign because it's unpopular. Most of the folks around the Boneyard haven't been to New Vegas and probably never will. All they know is that their money gets sucked away to this desert and their brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters die here. It's complicated. Goes way back. I told President Kimball that we need more rangers here. He accepted that, but took the most experienced ones and sent them south. Patrol rangers are good men and women, but we're about to fight a war. You've seen it yourself. Some of them don't even have proper service rifles or armor. Our heavy infantry, power armor units, they're back in NCR territory protecting the interests of Brahmin barons against small-time raiders. Brahmin barons only have one vote at the ballot box, but they have a lot of money to throw around. Not too long ago, they took Nelson and Searchlight. They got some camps on the eastern shore of the Colorado. And the monstrosity on the hill across the lake, that's for Caesar. Some folks don't believe he's here yet, but you can tell. He's the eye of the storm. It all roils and spins around him. You don't have to see the man to see the effect he has. Nelson was barely set up. We had a big stretch of unprotected land between Forlorn Hope and Searchlight. Nelson was the solution. A deaconess named Dead Sea took the place and caused a lot of damage. By the way, I appreciate what you did for the troopers down there. Nelson might not be the most strategically important place, but taking Dead Sea out means a lot to them. Searchlight was worse. One of Caesar's Frumentari must have found something in there. Flooded the whole camp with radiation. I could tell you a lot if you had the time, but at my age, I'm not sure which of us would get tired first. What do you want to know? Suppose it depends on what you think's good. Most folks want to hear about Hoover Dam and Boulder City, but it's a long story. If you want some tall tales about hunting down slavers or busting up gangs, talk to one of the younger rangers. It's kind of a long one, but all right. About 25 years ago, a group of NCR settlers pushed way south into Baja. I guess it doesn't seem so far now if you look at a map, but back then they were out of ways. They built this little shanty town around a well in the middle of nowhere. Called it Rattletail. Word got back to one of our stations that raiders had been attacking the place. I went out with 6 rangers. We must have been on the trail for a week before we got to Rattletail. We lost one woman to night stalkers and another almost died of dehydration. When we reached the place, it's 6 shacks set up around an old well. There's over 24 bodies lying in the dunes way outside of town, and 5 men with .308 rifles crouched behind sandbags.
Oh.
And these bodies, these people out in the sand, they aren't raiders, aren't even heavily armed. They're just people who were trying to get to the only well in 50 miles. I didn't have to talk to the men to see that they did not care one bit. They had planted an NCR flag over the well. They would not budge until every last one of them was laid out dead and cold. So I walked up and told them there was a group of raiders coming, 100 strong. I made up some cockamamie name for them and everything. The men looked at each other, looked at us, and asked me what we were going to do about it. I told them we would take them back into NCR territory because we'd already lost 10 rangers on the way out. 10 rangers, 5 men with .308 rifles. Well, that was enough for them. They packed up what they could, and we took them back north. Last I heard, they settled somewhere in Anza Borrego. Raised bighorners. Had some tough times, but it worked out okay for them. So there you go. That's my one bit of good. In big battles, Caesar deploys his legionaries in waves. Recruits up front, prime soldiers behind the recruits, old guard bringing up the rear. Opponents wear themselves out dealing with the first 2 waves, if they survive that long. When the veterans step up, there's not much fight left. Caesar can adapt, though, and when required, he can run any mix of legionaries as skirmishers and still retain order in the ranks. Joshua Graham, Caesar's old legate, he wasn't so flexible. When the Legion attacked Hoover Dam, General Oliver ordered his troopers back to the middle ground just after first contact. Graham pushed all of the legionaries onto the dam, filling the east side with recruits up front and veterans in the back, by the book. But once they were in, they were stuck there. Oliver's troopers were entrenched and wouldn't give a foot. That's when we ordered the Rangers and the 1st Recon sharpshooters to start picking off veteran Legion officers from a high ridge west of the dam. That only lasted about a minute before Graham ordered the back ranks to push through to the front and rush the ridge. Caused total chaos among the younger legionaries. Oliver's troopers fell back to the side walkways and stayed out of the veterans' way. By the time the veterans got to the ridge, we were already in Boulder City. They followed us down there, but we were out before they realized what was happening. We'd packed the old city with C4 and dynamite. Crude, but it did the job. Those who didn't die in the blast were in no position to mount a defense. The ones left on the dam didn't know what to do. The troopers routed them. Graham pulled the remaining legionaries back, but the battle was over. He went south, back to the Grand Canyon, back to Caesar. And that was the last we saw or heard from Joshua Graham. Adios.
Now that's a long story. Okay. I'm guessing the armor that I'm wearing doesn't classify me as a member of the Brotherhood of Steel. And that's why I've been attacked.
Looks like we booted the Legion out of Nelson. About damn time. We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
No, but I think you do.
Over here.
I'd sit and listen to that stuff, but I would set off the copyright thingy on YouTube. Oh. If I remember right, there's a few quests out here.
Hello. Hey, my man. Ten of Spades. First Recon Sharpshooter. At your service. Oh, yeah. Fine. Just a little stutter. Had it since I was a kid. Doesn't stop me from kicking ass. Damn right. The LT. Gorobets gave it to me. See, I wanted to be Ace of Spades, but the LT says, sorry kid, you're too green. So he calls me 10 instead. It's okay though. I get a few more kills under my belt, he'll move me up to Jack. Jack of Spades. Sounds better, right? I keep at it. Eventually I'll make it to Ace. Think I'll skip Queen though. Shit. Long as I can remember. Had a rifle in my hand since I was 3. That's what my dad always says. Learned to shoot on our ranch, way west of here. Same as the LT. He's a farm kid too. Oh, they recruited me, what, a year ago? Taught me to kick even more ass than before. These guys, they really know how to kick some ass. Kicking ass. Mostly kicking ass. See, we're watching the perimeter right now. Looking for those fiends to come back. When they show their faces, that's when we go to work. One shot, one kill. That's the first recon way. Yeah, I'll see you around. Why the fuck are you back here?
Excuse me?
Make yourself scarce. If you get yourself in trouble, I'm not going to cover your back.
What?
Why the fuck are you back here? He sent you. Why? Is that right? And what sort of support exactly is it that you have to offer?
Ah, that's right.
Bad idea on all sorts of levels. Leave it to the professionals, kid. I guess you have a point, and I don't know how long it'll be before I'm on both feet. All right, let me give you the key to the maintenance wing. God damn it. Is there nothing I can't fuck up here? I've lost the goddamn key. I don't know what to say. You'll have to find your own way to get at that sick bastard. Hope to see you back at McCarran.
Well, we're at McCarran right now.
Hey. Howdy. Name's Sterling, First Recon. Can't say I've seen you before. I'd remember if I had. Got a good memory for faces, landmarks and such too. Comes with practice, that's all, and a lot of scouting from place to place. I call her the Long Carabine. Didn't always have the scope. I added that myself. Been shooting with her so long, couldn't bring myself to toss her away. Would have felt guilty to part with the old girl. The other snipers used bolt action, but Gorbets reckoned it didn't matter none if I was different, so long as I could hit my targets. Used to be a ranger, one of the first they sent out east back before we took the dam. Observation and reconnaissance. We took the lay of the land, checked out the locals, and kept ourselves inconspicuous. A couple friends of mine were the first to scout the dam. That was back in '73, if I recall. A lot of those rangers are dead now. Vegas always chewed men up. It's just a little more literal nowadays. Well, that wasn't really a matter of choice. Got myself caught by legionaries up near Malpay. They had themselves some fun with me. Mangled my hands and feet pretty good. Wasn't much good with the pistol after that. Wasn't gonna be trekking across the waste on any more long scouts either. Caesar's boys figured I wasn't going anywhere after what they'd done to me, so they didn't bother tying me up. I crawled out of there on my elbows and knees. Must have looked a sight. Then I rolled down an embankment into the Colorado. Guess I had a mind to drown rather than give Caesar's boys the satisfaction of killing me. But a couple rangers happened to be watching from across the river. They jumped on in and pulled me out of there. Lucky break, they said. Going on 6 months now, but I reckon we'll be moving out soon enough. Can't talk about the details. Till then, we'll man the towers and keep an eye on the fiends. We've had more than our share of trouble from their direction. Whole thing smells of Caesar to me. Of course, that's just guesswork. But I'd still bet a few caps he's stirring up the locals against us. Always a pleasure. Keep yourself safe.
Never seen you around before. What do you want? You killed him? Well, shit. Here I'd dreamed up this whole elaborate revenge fantasy. Didn't really think I'd do it, but as long as the tubby bastard was actually alive, I could pretend like I would. Here, I owe you. Take it and get out of here, before I indulge my inner bitch and spoil the moment.
Hey.
What a pointless trip. Here I thought I'd get a shot at that junkie bastard. Not unless you count the fiends as serious. Gorobets keeps us inside the fence most of the time. Doesn't matter to me. I just shoot bad guys. Sooner or later, they'll move us out to the dam, though. That's when the shit gets nasty. Legion fights to win, and they're smart. Hell of a lot smarter than these crazy fiends. But I don't feel bad about shooting Legion boys. Fiends, on the other hand, sometimes I get pangs of conscience. Not often, but sometimes. Some cute little junkie bitch, so fucked up she doesn't even know that she's the bad guy. And I've got a headshot her. Makes me think. Might just be sex, though. I see some cute little number and I'd rather get in her pants. So maybe I'm a stone-cold bitch after all. What gave me away? The big gun, the shades, or the attitude? Yup, a lot of people make that connection. Big gun, sniper. Some people don't even need to ask. Yeah, right. You're sniffing up the wrong skirt. Try me again when you're tall, blonde, and female. Yeah, try not to get killed.
Something I can do. Anders showed up here not too long ago. I'm told you're the one who got him out of the vault. Can't tell you how relieved I am. Sending him on that mission was a mistake. I'd hoped he'd be able to slip past their security and be out before anyone knew he was there. But I underestimated the fiends. Should have known better given the hell they've caused for us. Regardless, what you did for Anders isn't something he or any of us around here take lightly. We're all glad to have him back. Thank you. I appreciate your concern for Bitter Springs. You've already been quite helpful to the NCR. I suppose it's only right to return the favor. There are a lot of things I can't spare troops for right now. If you can help us, we can definitely pay you for your work. You don't cook by any chance, do you? Farber's doing his best, but it's hard to manage an army with half my staff in line for the latrine. Honestly, we're fighting a lot of fires right now. The fiends keep pressing their position from Vault 3. We've got the Legion breathing down our necks across the river. We actually took an officer alive last week, but so far he hasn't spoken a word. Yeah, on top of everything else, I can't send a patrol on a bathroom break without it being ambushed by someone who heard they were coming. So somebody's getting the word out. Calm is what you have to be when people look to you. And it's all you can be when things are out of your hands. Could be better, I'll say that much. We set up here with our sights set on annexing New Vegas. It's a lot of resources that could do a lot of good for us. But that hasn't happened. If anything, they annexed us. They rake in the profits from our soldiers, and we're stuck protecting them from the Legion. Not exactly the plan. Now we're trying to secure the Strip and the dam at the same time, and it's costing us. And in the meantime, General Oliver won't approve any offensive maneuvers because he doesn't want to risk losing our positions. So we're in a holding pattern here. And Caesar's on the other side of the river, planning. I have Lieutenant Boyd on that already, and she's excellent, but I think she's hit a wall. Talk to her if you like. See if she has any use for you. Her office is right above mine, but I think she might be interrogating right now. So she'd be upstairs on the other side of the building. Well, why not? Given your recent arrival, at least I can safely rule you out as the leak. I'd like to have absolute trust in my men, but that's just not practical right now. Go ahead and look into it. See what you find. We don't have much to go on right now. Lately, every raiding party in New Vegas seems to have a map of our troop movements. It derails everything. Supplies, reinforcements, and it'll only get worse the longer we let it go on. Captain Curtis is heading up the investigation right now. He can fill you in. It's our main base. We took it because it lets us keep an eye on the Strip, and it had already been fortified before the Great War. From here we handle most of the logistics for our operations in Nevada. Troop allocation, supply distribution, intel. Usually General Oliver runs the show here, but he's on his way to the dam now, so I've taken on a lot of his duties here. Unfortunately, no. In fact, the word from the ranger stations has been especially concerning lately. It sounds like they've run into overwhelming resistance, and supplies just aren't reaching them. It's been so bad, I asked Sergeant Reyes at Camp Forlorn Hope to look into it and see how it is that things could be so fouled up there. Everything was going according to President Kimball's plan at first. We met minor resistance from local troublemakers, but our two main objectives are still contested. Mr. House controls the Strip, and he won't so much as meet with our ambassador. And we're holding Hoover Dam, but Caesar's Legion is positioning itself to overrun it. If it falls, so will New Vegas. We'd be forced to withdraw. Bye.
Hey. A little busy at the moment, but I can talk. This? The OSI lab. We don't get many visitors. The smell puts people off, I think. Nobody ever said science would smell clean and fresh. Anyway, you get used to it if you give it some time. I know I don't sound the part. Get raised by Brahmin ranchers and you never lose the twang. Drives Hildern crazy. But I know every inch of the power grid from Hoover Dam to Shady Sands. That's what we do here. Try to optimize the power output from the dam. Some of the others are working on an agricultural project, but truth be told, they aren't making much progress. Not yet, anyway. Head researcher. Mostly on the dam project, but I help out on other things when they need me. Gotta be flexible. You mean give you work? No, that'd be up to the administrator, Hildern. He's back there in his office. Between you and me, I don't think he ever leaves. Plenty of mercs go in to see him, though. I can't say. We're not supposed to talk about the research. Not the details. If you're interested, I'm sure he'd see you. Nice to meet you. If you need anything, I'm almost always in the lab.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Dr. Thomas Hildern, Director of Operations, OSI East. I presume you're here about Vault 22? No, they wouldn't have briefed you, would they? Probably better that our junior fellows stay within the bounds of their pay grade anyway. Vault 22. Where to begin? Imagine, if you will, the wasteland in bloom. Vast fields of corn that grow from seeds and produce their bounty in the space of a month. Orchards of trees, their branches weighed halfway to the ground, hung with fat, ripe oranges, a harvest that could feed a city or a nation. And all this, requiring no more than a few drops of precious water, and the efforts of only a handful of human farmers. Impossible? Precisely. Science has proven that truth 1,000 times over, but how many wasteland savages believe it? Present company accepted, of course. The bounty I described to you is no idle fantasy. It exists in primitive form only a few miles from where we stand. We need only reach out and unlock its secret. For that, the OSI needs you. Isn't it? One directs one's efforts, or the efforts of others, toward a goal, and progress is made. It's a matter of incentives, nothing more. I believe that the inhabitants of Vault 22 unlock the secrets of vegetative growth. Plants are spilling from their gate. No one tends them. No one waters them. Yet they multiply and spread in all directions. Find the reason for this miraculous growth, and I promise you the OSI will see that you are generously compensated. Good. No need to check in with the NCR authorities. I can authorize your payment from OSI accounts. Vaults typically contain a server room on a lower level, where they would have backed up their research data. A computer room, you understand? Download all the information on the central server to your Pip-Boy, and you'll be certain to bring me any notes or samples that you find, won't you? I thought it was a fairly straightforward assignment. It's a simple question of retrieving the data, which shouldn't prove overly challenging. Downloading the data will be handled by your Pip-Boy. You might think of yourself as a mere means of conveyance. No insult intended, of course. Oh? What might those be? The Office of Science and Industry. It's a rather expansive topic. I could talk for hours, but I'm sure I'd bore you. Suffice to say, we are the leading edge of the NCR. Our work focuses on practical matters: medicine, engineering, biology. The dam, for instance. OSI routes its energy supply to our cities in the West. That's only one responsibility of this office. Director of the entire OSI? Me? If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to plant seditious ideas in my head. No. I direct our eastern operations. I've been responsible for squeezing unprecedented levels of power from the dam. I'm also confronting the problem of food production in what little spare time I have, but I've found some promising leads. Yes, with the assistance of my team, of course. Not yet, but our government understands the value of proactive thought. Our studies project an imbalance between production and consumption. Or, for a layman such as yourself, not enough food, too many mouths to feed. Mass starvation in a decade or so. We aid some programs the Republic has sponsored involving sharecropper farms in the area. But those haven't panned out too well from what I hear. There have been complaints about the amount of water we're supplying. But those are just excuses for lack of diligence, I'm sure. Directly? No. But we attempt to maximize its output. You have no idea how difficult it is to provide power to an entire nation. Fortunately, we also have the Helios 1 facility. One of our external contractors recently got the station up and running. His name was something like exceptional or marvelous or... I see. Of course you did. To be frank, I have no idea. I leave the fighting to Colonel Shu, and I expect him to leave the science to me. Too many people have opinions on things they know nothing about. And the more ignorant they are, the more opinions they have. Wonderful. Excellent work. Let me see it. It'll take a moment to decode on my terminal. Didn't I? Did you encounter undue difficulties? Clearly not, or you wouldn't be standing here, would you? All that matters is whether the data is intact. I think Williams' decryption algorithms seem to be working. Yes, here it is. The data is mostly uncorrupted. This will make the board of directors finally sit up and take notice. Here then, as promised, an agreeable sum payable upon delivery of the data. You've more than done your part. Your concerns are perfectly understandable, but I assure you, they're entirely misplaced. We would never use technology that wasn't fully tested. We aren't some motley band of vault alchemists. We're with the government, for goodness sake. Have a little faith in us.
Ugh. Government.
Go right ahead, Trooper.
It's funny, they call me an NCR trooper when I look like this.
Boyd's in there with a prisoner right now. Boy, is she pissed.
You stick out like a sore thumb around here. You sure you're in the right place? Not big on reading name tags, huh? That's okay. My name is long and difficult to pronounce. Ready for it? It's Boyd. Lieutenant Boyd to my friends. Colonel Shu has me handling the policing duties for the base. I've told him he could make my job a whole lot easier if he would just let me shoot anyone who talks back to me. But you know how colonels can be. Yeah, so far this has gone exactly as expected. Poorly. But with the work you've done for NCR already, you might be just what I've been looking for. We captured an honest-to-God Centurion of Caesar's Legion recently. Better believe it. Everybody in Caesar's Legion from Caesar on down will kill themselves before they can be captured. They're so twitchy they'd probably do it if you reached out to hug them. But here's this guy, who's an elite commander in their army, and he just gives himself up, even as his men are slitting their own throats around him. Well, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like a man who's willing to cooperate. Except he hasn't. Only times he speaks up are to insult you. He's a real prick, by the way, and I'm supposed to get information out of this guy. I like the way you think. Have I said that yet? Problem is that the NCR frowns on using that sort of tactic. There are some restrictions still in place from President Tandy's administration. But here's my favorite thing about you. You're not in the NCR. Plus, for all this guy knows, you're completely insane. That's a winning combination. I think if you rough him up enough and really put some fear into him, he'll sing like a choir boy. So let's do this. When you're ready, I'll go in and give you a little intro. Then I leave the room and you make him regret the day he was born. We go back and forth a couple times until either he talks or he can't move his jaw anymore. Either way, we've had our entertainment for the day. That's the spirit. Okay, I'll go in and have a word with him. Then I'll call you in. Long time no see, Celus.
Lieutenant, I was just thinking about you.
That's so.
I was just thinking about that pretty neck of yours.
How sweet.
I was thinking about how it would look with a Legion slave collar on it.
I'll pass.
Do you know what I love about our slave collars, Lieutenant?
If you love them, maybe you should try one on.
I love how tightly they fit. I train my men to make sure the slave's flesh bulges a bit around the top and bottom. Know why?
It's all the rage in fashion circles?
Not quite. If you fit it just right, their body never gets used to the feeling of wearing it. It cuts in just enough when they swallow or turn their head to remind them who they belong to. And it's that constant reminder that keeps them docile.
In that case, maybe you'd better save the collar you were gonna give me.
Oh? For whom?
For a friend of mine you're about to meet. My friend isn't very docile.
And who is this friend of yours?
You know all the rules the NCR instituted to protect enemy prisoners of war?
Of course.
My friend doesn't. Oh, and Celus? If you resist at all, I'll personally blow your brains out. Come on in, he's all yours. I'll be back in a bit to see how you're getting along. And I'll need you to surrender your weapons before you go in. You can pick them up from the locker on your way out.
What an ugly little worm you are. What pile of excrement did the lieutenant pluck you from, worm? You must have some reason to be in your line of work. Tell me, what did the Legion do to you? Did we enslave your children? Slaughter your family before your eyes to teach you a lesson? Whatever it was, I hope I was there to give the order. Foot soldiers of the Legion are trained not to have to think for themselves, to have conflict removed from their minds. They kill themselves to evade capture because they are not trusted to make such a decision rationally in the heat of battle. But I'm no foot soldier. I knew I could escape captivity on my own without revealing the tiniest iota of information to my captors. I'll show you gutless, you sniveling bastard. I'll spill your guts all over this room.
Is something the matter, Silus? You look upset. Here, maybe you'd better step out for a moment. You've upset him.
You're a fucking degenerate.
I don't know. I thought he seemed like a nice guy.
If we were on the other side of the river, I'd have him torn apart by dogs.
That's a long walk, Silus. I don't think it's gonna happen. You'd better just talk.
Your tactics are a joke.
If you don't like dealing with me, I can bring my friend back in.
Both of you can rot.
Have it your way. Come on back in. I think he misses you.
We don't have anything to discuss, worm. Coward. I've faced odds that would make your NCR soldiers wet themselves. I've led charges against men with guns, carrying only my knife. And I can tell you, it was they who feared me. But suicide is a weak death on a battlefield. It says to your enemy that you fear capture. It says if you're caught, you can be broken. You think I'm going to slit my throat for some megalomaniacal self-appointed dictator? I didn't work my way up to have it all be taken from me out of some irrational paranoia. Caesar's losing it. I believe that. He's been shutting himself in his tent. Privately, he complains of headaches. Whatever it is, it's affecting his ability to lead. Time was essential for my mission, but we waited 3 days for him to dispatch us. Another of his headaches. Does that sound like a man in command? He has an operative planted in this very base, but does he use his agent to rescue me? No. He's content to have the agent spend his nights radioing troop positions back to our base camp. He knows I'm here, and he's left me to rot. I don't know. I know he sends intelligence by radio in the middle of the night. Sometimes that intelligence would find its way to my cantery. Then you're a fool. That man reports to Caesar on what I do here. The Legion isn't going to take me back. My only hope is to escape and disappear. But if I escape and he reports it, they'll hunt me down as long as I live. It served me to report him as much as it served you. I hope the Legion burns your wretched body at the stake when they conquer this place. Nothing I could tell you would do anything to stop that.
You did well. I don't know how you did it without putting a scratch on him, and I'm a little disappointed personally, but it saved the NCR some face. And it could save us more than that when all is said and done. I'm gonna talk to some people when we're through here. This is about double the standard fee we'd give a consultant, but from what I saw, you're more of an artist. So think of this as your commission. Yep, see you around.
Nelson's back in our hands. Nelson's back in our hands. Hope we can defend it this time.
If it's bad news, you can take it up with the Colonel. If it's good news, it better involve some dead fiends. Pack of drugged-out killers. They're addicted to every stim, every pill, every psychoactive enema on this fucked up Earth. I've got 3 fiends I want dead, and I don't give a goddamn how it gets done. That sound like something that interests you? Good. That's damn good. I figure it's about time we got lucky out here, so maybe you can snuff one of these maniacs. First one calls herself Violet. God knows why. The name is the prettiest thing about her. Spends most of her time with a pack of vicious dogs. Then there's Driver Nafai. He's fast and he's brutal. Killed about a dozen of my men with a goddamn driver iron. Hence his name. And finally, Cook. Rapist, pyromaniac, and damn good chef if you believe the fiends we've captured. Probably the craziest of the lot. I'm not gonna feed you any bullshit. These aren't your common Vegas trash. They've all killed good NCR men. Plenty of mercs, too. You go after them. Any of them. You're in for a hell of a fight. So, which one is it gonna be? Violet it is. Wish I could give you more advice on how to bring her down, but we know less about her than the other 2. Just watch out for the dogs. She raises them herself. Might as well be their mother. I never leave her side. Good question. Fiend territory is southeast of here, but they range all over the area. None of them stays in any one place for long.
I've killed all these targets already in a previous video.
One more thing. If you want the full reward, you need to bring me a recognizable head. My superiors need proof they're gone. That means no headshots, no decapitations till after they're dead, and no damage to the face. If you want to be safe, aim for the chest. You bring me a head that looks like a rotten tomato, people will be doubting, and I won't be authorized to pay the entire bounty. Good luck to you, and don't get careless. That right, you killed one of the psychopaths on my shit list? Let me see the scumbag's head. God damn it, that's Violet all right. You've made me one happy son of a bitch, you know that? Here, this is the bounty I put on her head. It's yours. Think you can take down another one of these scumbags? Up to you. But I can trust you to do the job, and I'd hate to see you walk away. You killed another one. Let me have a look at the head. Well. Driver Nafai. Nothing to say, you son of a bitch? No tips on my golf swing? Lost a lot of good men to this psychopath. Morale's gonna be better now that he's gone. Here's the bounty I promised. I guess we can send first recon down to Camp Forlorn Hope. They need all the help they can get there. That's 2 psychopaths dead. If you can bring down the 3rd, there's a bonus in it for you. One thing I should tell you about Cook. Piece of shit is pure animal. He raped one of my snipers, and that makes this personal. Also, he's got a flamethrower, and he's damn good with it. From what I hear, he either rapes or burns every living thing he gets his hands on. Only one man's gotten close to killing him, and that's Little Buster. So he says, anyway. Maybe it's bullshit, but I'd still ask him about it. Bounty hunter. Talks big. But he's still alive, so he can't be completely full of shit. I think he's out in the yard, waiting to claim a couple bounties. You've gone after the fiends before. I don't have to tell you to keep alert. Good luck. This is Cook. Oh, you sure did a number on his face. I'm not allowed to give you the full reward, but thanks for taking this guy down. It's payback for at least one of my troopers. She'll be glad to know he's dead. Here's your caps. You've been one hell of a stroke of good luck, you know that? Those 3 scumbags probably killed 20 NCR troopers. And you bring them down alone. Wish I had a few grunts as good as you. Damn good working with you.
You're welcome. Oh, you must be underneath.
What is it? Nice to meet you. I'm Curtis. Smart man. I could use somebody who can operate under the radar around here. Whoever our mole is, he's been slippery. Whenever one of the MPs gets too close, he changes his habits. Our last lead went cold weeks ago. You want my advice? Start by talking to people with a lot of eyes in the field. People like Lieutenant Boyd, or Sergeant Contreras, maybe. Careful with Contreras, though. He's not above suspicion himself. Keep me apprised of any leads you get. This guy's gotten a lot of my men killed. I'm just itching to return the favor. Well, I'll leave that to you. But I would recommend Lieutenant Boyd and Sergeant Contreras as two people who usually know what's going on around here. Officially, I'm in charge of Bravo Company. But since General Oliver has Bravo and most of our forces here garrisoned, I'm free to do other things. So I work with Colonel Shu on logistics, patrols, supply lines, reinforcements, that sort of thing. Lately, it's been less about that, and more about figuring out how that information is getting leaked to raiders. It's a big base with a lot of unhappy soldiers. They get stir-crazy. Hard to separate the malcontents from the actual culprit. Later.
Alright, well I'm going to finish this one here. And then we'll be continuing on from the next video. Alright, so hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you'd like to be notified about when I go about putting up more videos in the Fallout New Vegas series, be sure to subscribe on the YouTube side of things to be notified when those videos are made available. Alright guys, have a good one.